Body to Momentum Consulting. And Momentum Consulting, we believe that education plus application makes all the difference in the world. And listen, I'm telling you something. I am super, super excited. Over the next several weeks, we're going to be having conversations around how you can end the year strong. Think about it, friend. We got about 80 days left.
Yeah.
To December 31st, 2023. My question to you is, what does the next 81 days look like for you and your business? If the answer is, I don't know, then you're in the right place. If the answer is, I believe I have a plan, you're in the right place. If you say, Rich, I have a plan, guess what? You're still in the right place. And I'm really excited to have my good friend, Mr. Rob Dawson, going to be joining me on this conversation today. Rob Dawson used to be a Maryland man, but he traded us in, y'all. He traded in the snow. He traded in the winter for Florida. Who does that?
Hey, man, I live in the Sunshine State now, man. Funny thing is, when you were here, Rich, it was the rainy season. We get like a rainy season of 2 months, and you came the worst week of the year. I think we had rain every day. But man, I tell you, it's beautiful. But life is about, seasons, man.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, we were in Maryland for 16, 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we just heard God say move. So we had to obey, and it's been a beautiful thing. But I'm excited for this conversation. So thanks for having me, bro.
Yeah, my pleasure, my pleasure. And now, so Rob, we're jumping right into it. There's a lot of things that we would like to cover. Some main things that we will cover. But tell a little bit. Let's start out, Rob. But tell a little bit about your journey to where you started to where you are as a CEO and 360 your business and business coach and trainer.
Yeah. Great question. Man, I started out in customer service, making only $25,000 a year. And what I tell young people that are just starting out, like, it's funny, Rich, a lot of these kids coming out of college now, they want to start out making $75,000 or $100,000 a year. And I'm like, bro, you got to earn your stripes.
Right.
Excuse me. See, wait, I forgot we're on LinkedIn. Young man, you have to earn your stripes.
Yeah.
But I started off only making $25,000 a year, but I quickly realized that I was great at sales. So even though I was doing customer service, I had to do cross-selling.
Mm-hmm.
And within 3 months, Rich, I got promoted to disputes. Imagine trying to sell something to somebody who's calling upset because they got 50 charges from a company over the last 50 months that they don't recognize. And I'm like, oh, by the way, you can do a balance transfer today. But I was still great at it, man. Mm-hmm. So I went from customer service to selling insurance. Mm-hmm. I went from selling insurance to doing home loans and auto loans. I worked at Wells Fargo. I was one of their top loan officers. I learned how to look at credit and understand credit. And then from there, when I moved to Maryland, I'll never forget, I was doing a loan for a guy, Rich. I don't even know if you know this story. And his job title said digital media consultant. And I said, what is that? And he was making $90K. This was like in 2012, bro. 2009. No, 2007. I was like, $90K, 2007. I'm like, yo, what do you do? And he goes, I do inside sales. I sell internet advertising. I work with small businesses. We do websites and Google AdWords. And I said, that's a job? Like, that's a thing? He said, man, this is where it's going, Rob. Everybody doing the phone books, but I'm telling you, this internet advertising. Rich, long story short, I said, excuse me, do you have an office in Baltimore? I'm moving to Maryland. He goes, actually, we do. And he said, Rob, they make more money than us.
Oh, wow.
It's outside sales. And so, Rich, I applied, initially got turned down for the job. That's a whole nother story. Kept going after it, called the hiring manager about 6-7 times. One day I get her on the phone late at night. And I said, Yvonne Lee, shout out to Yvonne Lee. She is one of the top realtors in the DMV now. I said, Yvonne, I apologize. I didn't show you my true abilities and attributes. I'm the man for this job, and I'm asking you to reconsider. I'll hit my number every month. I'll be one of your best salespeople. She said, come in tomorrow. We won't even call it a job interview. Rich, I hit that Baltimore, DC traffic coming from Delaware, bro. How you gonna show up late to the second opportunity? Man, but
Oh man.
I went in there sweating. I think I got a ticket that day because I think I parked and didn't even pay for the meter.
What?
But bro, I went in there with my stats. I showed her my stats. I said, "You see this guy at the top of the list?" I said, "That's me, where I'm at right now." I said, "I'm going to be that for you." I asked you to reconsider. She gave me the shot. She said, "You know what?" She hired me on the spot. I've been doing marketing and media rich now for 14 going on 15 years, advertising, marketing, helping businesses. I've consulted, worked with thousands of small, medium, and large businesses.
Wow.
And it's a beautiful thing because 8-9 years ago when I was in corporate, I was enjoying what I did, but I didn't like the red tape of the corporate environment. So I had this dream for like 5 years that I wanted to start my own company. And the long story short is I remember writing it on a white pad like this. I wrote the name. Rich, guess what the name of the company was going to be at first?
Momentum
Marketing.
Uh-oh.
And so I think you read my mind when you started Momentum Consulting, but it was Momentum Marketing and Media.
Wow.
And the rest is history. I left a 6-figure salary job in corporate America to launch my own company to risk it all. And the rest is history, bro.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you sharing that. And one of the reasons why we specifically chose the name Momentum because a lot of times in life, when we don't know how to create the movement for momentum, life is stale. And so I love that idea of momentum as it relates to what we do, how we're growing and taking scaling our business. And I'm really locked in, Rob, and you are too, as well as, I am as well. You are locked in as well as I am as it relates to ending this year strong, man, because, being in sales, it's easy for sales professional. I'm sure you've seen it in your industry and your line of work. Sales professionals, they start thinking holiday, they start thinking time off, they start thinking, let me scale down. On the real estate side, my sales began in real estate side. So in real estate, historically, sales starts to slow down. Sellers change their mind about selling, et cetera. So what you and I do as business owners over the next 81 days is success is vital. And one of the things I want you to talk a little bit about, Rob, because I know that you have this, is talk about this mindset, man, of thinking win.
Yes. I tell you, you got to possess a winner's mindset coming in.
Right.
Like, I don't know about you, Rich, but when I step on the court or I step out the car in the field to prospect or to network or build relationships or to go in and present my product or service, my mindset is I'm winning every time. Like, I'm not playing to lose. And so you have to have this Mamba mentality, like Kobe Bryant, where it's like, I'm here to win. And a win doesn't mean that the other person loses. There can be a mutual win for your clients and your customers, but you got to have this mindset that I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to cave in. No matter what I got to do, I'm going to finish this year strong and get the results that I said at the beginning of the year that I was going to get. So that mindset is key. That mindset is key. And so part of that, if I can, and I would love your thoughts on it, but I shared this recently in a live about how I built my business early on. You got to have crazy, ridiculous activity,
right?
High level activity, because the right activity produces the right results.
Absolutely.
But if you're not putting forth the activity to get the goal, to get the very thing that you said you want, like, what are we really doing here? So the mindset has to be, I'm a winner. I'm playing to win, and I'm gonna put forth the right activity and the necessary activity to get the results that I want.
Yeah, I like that, Rob. An activity. A lot of times, sales professional, and what our lane that we're reaching out, that we're working with the sales professional, entrepreneur, and business owners, is, you said, that right activity.
Yep.
So there's usually objectives, and then there are activities, and a lot of sales professionals they focus, they just have activity. But the activity isn't attached to an objective. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when you get up in the morning and you start prospecting, you're not prospecting for the sake of prospecting. You're prospecting is what you're doing, but you have a why to it.
Absolutely.
Right. And so as you talk about this activity, man, what are some of the whys that you attach to your activity and you look at ending the year strong?
Yeah. So when it comes to whys, I'm glad you said whys, because a lot of times people say start with your why, like the book from Simon Sinek, and it's a great book, one of the best books written of all time, one of the best TED Talks of all time. Start with why. But you got to have multiple reasons why you do something. Because if I say my why is I want to buy my dream home, but then I get it, there goes the motivation.
Right. Now what?
If I say my why is just because I want to provide for my wife and daughter, well, what if something happens to what is going on here with the new iOS 17? Balloons.
Yeah, I know. There's a celebration. You said wife. There's a celebration. That's a cheat code to success. Is celebrate and honor your wife.
I'm still trying to figure out how to turn it off. Watch. Here's another one. When you put the thumb up, try to thumb up, Rich. I don't know. It'll do it usually.
Well, it happened to me last night. I was on a webinar. I was on the man cave that we do, and all of a sudden I'm making a dramatic point, and then sparks went off in the background. So
I don't like people controlling what's displayed on my screen, but I understand.
Yeah, right.
So the point that I was making before the balloons interrupted was that you got to have a lot of different reasons, because I've seen people where their spouse passes away or they get a divorce, and then it's like, now what? Your motivation for living or your motivation for why you do business has gone away. So for me, it's having multiple whys and reasons. I call it a bag of whys or a bag of reasons. And so if you can imagine a duffel bag, and it's like, okay, one of my reasons is I want to give my daughter a better life than I had growing up as a kid. Another reason is I want to have more freedom in my day, my week, my month. So when I work hard and I grind, when I'm grinding, it produces a certain level of lifestyle for me and my family. Okay. Another reason might be you want to get out of debt. Boom. So you keep piling on and stacking, as they like to say, all these different reasons. And then you look up and it's like you got that fuel every day you wake up to go out and do what you got to do.
Yeah, that's good, man. And that is, part of that purposeful living, that lifestyle. And what I hear also connected with that is that you have an expectation.
Yes.
For the results of your why.
Right.
So you're not just getting up in the morning and grinding, or getting up in the morning or going on appointments or whatever those activities that you mentioned are. You're saying that I'm doing these things, but attached to the why I'm doing it is an expectation.
Absolutely.
I like expectation. Expectation, because I looked at a definition, and it should be up on the screen. It's a strong belief that something will happen. An expectation.
And I'll add to that. You heard me say this statement before, and if I say, Rich, what's one of my mottos, I know you probably would already know it, but one of my mottos for life is believe for the ridiculous.
Right.
And belief and expectation, they go together.
Yes, sir.
Like Scottie Pippen and Mike Jordan, like peanut butter and jelly.
Come on.
And so you got to have a strong belief, like you have on the screen here, if you guys are on LinkedIn, that something will happen or be the case in the future.
Right.
So if you come into your year and you said, I'm believing or expecting that I'm going to lose weight this year.
Right.
I'm going to lose 10 pounds or 20 pounds. Or you say, I believe I'm going to make $250,000 a year.
Right.
You got to believe that thing so much on the inside of you that you have an expectation for it, but your expectation causes you to take action.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And so that's why I tell people to believe for the ridiculous, because it's like, man, why shorten? Why cut yourself short? Why just believe like everybody else? Why believe for average? Why believe that you can just make $75,000 a year when you can make $750,000 a year?
Yeah, that's good, man, because average is accepted. Right. It's the norm. It's the, I don't want to do too much because I don't want to look like I'm standing out or I'm brown nosing but man, when you get up in the morning, you got to have this fervency. You have to have this intensity. You have to have this desire.
Yes.
About the success and the success that we make. I mean, think about this, Rob. You mentioned in Delaware, $25,000 a year.
Right.
And you know, and I'm thinking about the number 25,000, and I can relate. You know, years ago, 25,000 did seem like a big number, but now 25,000 is maybe the average size deal close, right?
Right.
So what we used to look at in terms of, man, 12 months, 12,000 divided by 12, you know, what is that? I don't know, 18, 1,500, whatever it is, $2,000 a month, to now being in the position, because really what changed from the beginning, 25,000.
That's good. Yeah, absolutely. Rich, can you still hear me on this on the laptop? No, I can't. Okay. Cool. Awesome. So I'll just keep flowing. I don't know why the audio went out, but we're good. We're good. So you were asking me about, let's see here. Yeah, repeat the last part of the question. Correct. Yep. Right. Yeah, man, great question. So I'll dive into the details for you guys watching on LinkedIn or Facebook or IG. So what it looks like is I love reverse engineering things, Rich. So for example, when I was 18, 19, I told my wife now, who at the time I was just dating or courting, I said, yeah, by the time I'm 25, I'm going to make six figures. And my wife is going to be a stay-at-home mom. And what do you think happened by the time I was 25? I did it. And so I reverse engineered it. I'm like, I had the vision. And then I said, okay, what do I need to do? And I just started moving up in my sales career. So I went from 25,000 a year to 30, 31, 32,000 selling insurance, to 50,000 selling auto loans, to then boom, I made a huge leap. So I went boop, boop, boop. And then I went from here to $172,000 job, just hitting baseline commission at 24 years old. And so then my income increased again the next year, and I got promoted on that job. So it's like I just continue to, take leaps or steps, but I had the end game in mind, right? So for me, I do the same thing with my year. So I use something called a productivity planner. I also have a gratitude journal that I wanted to show you. So I think about my weeks and my month going into it, and I make a decision like, what are my top 3 this week? What are my top 3 today? What are the 3 things I need to get done today that's going to get to my top 3 for the week, that's going to get to my top 3 for the month, that's going to get to my top 3 for the year? So an example of that is I know I got to make 10 to 20 touches every single day. So every day I prospect in my calendar. Most days you'll see a block that says green time. Let me tell you what green time is. Green time is money making time, because prospecting is what leads to the closed deals. So if you're not putting in that green time and you're not putting in that time to prospect every single day, whether it's in your professional career, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your side hustle, you're not going to get the result you want at the end of the year. You got to do the daily disciplines every single day that's going to get you to the end result. So that's what I do, Rich. I reverse engineer it. I think about my big goals. I think about what I want to accomplish on a personal level, a professional level, and also in my family. And then I work backwards and I say, okay, what are the things that I need to do every day to get me one step closer each day to that goal at the end of the year? Yeah. You like that? Yes. Right. Right. Perfect. Right. Yeah, 100%, because a lot of people nowadays in the AI driven um online marketing lead generation world that we live in, like I stopped in on the ClickFunnels funnel hacking last like 2 weeks ago here in Orlando. A lot of guys just want stuff to come to them. So they use outbound marketing to generate inbound leads. And they think that's all there is to sales and prospecting and marketing. And they're like, oh, I'll just have customers come to me. Well, what about those customers that you want to do business with that aren't
Right.
seeing your ads, aren't going to your website?
Wow.
Like, I'll give you an example, Rich. Um, and man, I'll shout this out, but like one of the big clients that I'm going after that I really want to work with is one of the largest gym franchise in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And so I called, one of the vice presidents yesterday on his personal cell phone. Quick tip: always call twice.
Right. Right.
He didn't pick up the first time. Second ring, oh, I must know this person. Got him on the line. It was a wrap.
Right.
And so had I just relied on marketing and not prospected, I wouldn't have gotten that lead. I wouldn't have gotten that appointment. Does that
Right.
make sense?
It does. It does.
So you want to be diversified in your approach if you're watching this
Mm-hmm.
professionally and in your business if you own a business, so that way you're getting the business that you want. You're not just getting the business that comes to you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think about this, Rob, if I'm launching a business and I'm putting myself in a position, even with momentum, I'm looking at the next 81 days. I'm pretending like it's day one for momentum, because it can either be day one or one day.
Mm, that's
And it's
good.
totally up to us. And so I'm looking at, and that's the whole motivation, man, behind having these conversations, how to end the year strong. It's
Yes.
value added. I do these things, you do these things, and I'm sure you do with paid webinar, and people pay you to come in, speak, train, and coach, etc. I want to add value. I want to see sales professional, entrepreneur, and business small and business owners see you do well.
Right.
And so this I'm treating like today is day one. It's not one day, it's day one of the next 81 days, and I'm launching the business. Because when you started 360 your business, I know you told me a little bit about the story. You had that period of time like, oh man, did I miss it? But then
For sure.
if I remember, you said you closed more deals in like 3 weeks than you did. What was that? What was that like?
So I closed more business in one day that equaled my entire month's salary at my
Okay.
old job.
And now, okay. So we're going to So
not for the year. It was a month's salary. So
right. I know, but you were a 6-figure earner at the time.
correct.
Right. I mean, well into 6-figure earner, right? And so I'm painting. The reason why I'm getting vivid with this, man, because a lot of times, man, people don't see the reality or the possibility that they can do stuff like that.
Right.
So here it is, Rob Dawson, right? 6-figure earner, steps out and
started questioning the move.
Right.
I'm like, I remember the first day, Rich, I woke up as a full-time entrepreneur. Now it's 9 years now, right?
Right.
But the first day, or 8 years going on 9.
Yeah.
Bro, I looked in the mirror and the devil got on this shoulder and the little demon got on this shoulder.
That shoulder.
And I looked in the mirror and I heard the words, "You stupid. What did you just do?
What?
You just left a job you just got promoted on 10 months ago."
Right.
To do what? To start your own business? Bro, you got a mortgage, you got a family to take care of. What are you doing?
Right.
And man, I tell you, it went through my mind like, maybe I should call him back and just say, "Hey, I was kidding. I was joking.
I was just kidding.
I just needed a week off." And man, it got real for me. And I remember going down and praying that morning on my knees. It was about 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Lord, I need your help to make this successful."
Right.
And by the time I got off my knees, Rich, those of you watching this on IG, you know I'm a man of faith.
Right.
I went upstairs. By the time I grabbed my phone, Rich, and checked it, I had a voicemail and an email from 2 clients saying they wanted to do business with me.
There you go, the balloons.
Gotta celebrate. You gotta celebrate that.
Hey, man, come on, the balloons.
Hey, when people don't celebrate you, you celebrate yourself.
You gotta celebrate your own success.
And so, man, but literally, Rich, I had a client in Philly who was like, "Hey, can you come Wednesday?" This was on a Monday. And it just it settled me. I was like, wow, God, you're faithful.
Wow.
And so that was the first experience. But a month later, my dad passed away. So you're talking about adversity, passed away to cancer. And then I questioned myself again. And I was like, man, I don't know if I can do this. Mm-hmm. And so I've had those moments throughout my career and throughout business. And it's like, man, you just got to keep going and you can't quit. Right. And when you do that, it pays off in the long run. Yeah, man, that's good, man. And you know, I'm just thinking about that. You said you had a devil on this shoulder and you had a demon on it. You didn't even have an angel, man. I didn't. But I love it, Rob, because you know, again, I'm always excited about opportunity, even if it isn't seen. You know, I feel my passion, my drive in life to get people excited and passionate about things they can't even see. And we call it faith, right? And it's faith is confidence and belief in the unknown to the extent that I can sit and rest on it, et cetera, right? So you look at, you stepped out and you launched out into this business. You left a 6-figure job where you were doing well, mortgage, wife. Victoria was born at she was a couple years old, your daughter. Yep. And phone call, email, or text message, business is right there waiting for you. And I like what you just posted. I saw you posted opportunities all around. We just got to look for it. Right. And so part of that is, you know, talk a little bit about the importance, man, of then having what you say and what you think in alignment with where you're going. You know, I call it mouth and mind alignment. Rich, you can't make this up. You can't make this up. I just got a text at 12:03 from a client that I've been working for months. And the guy says, "I'll meet you 1:30 in Winter Park. Let me know." 1:30 today? Yeah. We're good for 30 minutes. It's only 25 minutes away. But I can finish the call. You go ahead and, you know, close the 6-figure deal. I can finish the call. But are you hearing what I'm saying, man? Like that alignment of your words, like you just said, and the alignment of your mindset and your beliefs and your expectations, they all got to come together. And when they come together with faith, nothing is impossible. And so I want to just encourage people that are watching this. I know that many people on LinkedIn, you know, we don't most often LinkedIn is like the professional network, and a lot of people don't talk about faith. I talk about faith at work, work at faith. Faith and work go together. Business and faith go together. And so it's the reason why I've been successful. And so I can't downplay that part of it. And I just want to encourage people, man, like be authentically who you are 24/7, 365. Align your faith with your beliefs, your expectations, have this mindset that we're talking about, and you'll get results. You'll get results well beyond what you ever could think or imagine. And that's what happened for me.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So that mouth and mind alignment, you know, is I was talking with a person the other day, and I was encouraging them about the affirmation. You got to have an affirmation. You got to speak well about yourself. You got to look in the mirror and say, I like who that person is. You know, he or she is lovely, here, whatever, right? And so I'm talking with them, and I said it's funny that we would think negative thoughts about ourselves, and we would get mad if the person outside said the same thing to me. Like if I thought I was dumb, if I have an internal thought that I'm dumb, then if someone on the outside called me dumb, I'll be ready to fight. But that person is just coming in agreement with what I'm already saying. That, you know, that's the hypocrisy I think about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. No, I love that. I mean, I used to tell myself those things when I was in school because, man, we're not gonna put it all out there. You know some of my story, but that's for a different day. But but no, that negative self-talk. You know, one of the things we teach in sales is something called talk tracks. I know you know about that. And so when I would build sales teams, I would tell them how you got to have different talk tracks to overcome different objections. You got to have different talk tracks, different elevator pitches, not just one elevator pitch, depending upon the industry or the client. So some of us have talk tracks in our head. And the question is, are they negative self-talk tracks or are they positive self-talk tracks? And are they moving you in the direction of where you want to go now through the end of the year? Or are they telling you you can't do it because you let go of that dream or that goal earlier in the year? Or it's too late, or you don't have enough time, or January is the hard stop. Like, you got to get this done by January 1st or you're not successful. No, man, I work on a rolling calendar, bruh. It's like, listen, I see things in like mini days, mini weeks. I love Ed Milet teaches this concept. A lot of people feel like, Rich, if they don't get something done by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, they're like, man, I done wasted my whole day. But if you break your day up, I wake up at 6 a.m., 6 a.m. to 10, that's 4 hours. 10 to 2, that's another 4 hour. That's another mini day. 2 to 6, that's 3 days. In one. That's 3 windows of opportunity. If I jack up the first half of my day and I don't get nothing done, I'm like, I got 2 more windows of opportunity to crush it. If I don't get my green time prospecting done by 10 o'clock, I'm like, man, I got 10 to 2. It's time to go hard. Let me get my 10, 20 touches. Are you hearing what I'm saying? I want you guys to get this. This is a part of the champion's diet for success. It's the little things that the most successful people do that make them successful. It's not huge, big, grandiose things. It's the small things. The difference between Usain Bolt and all those other guys that we don't know their name for, the difference between Michael Phelps and all those other guys that we don't know the names of those swimmers that he swam against in the Olympics when he won 20 plus medals, the difference between Michael Jordan and the other 165 or whatever players that were playing every season in and out that he played, the difference was the small things. And so part of your championship diet is looking at your day and breaking it up into subsections and saying, all right, I messed up this part of the day. What can I get accomplished in this next 4 hour window or this next 2 hour window, and focusing and honing in so that every day you're doing those daily disciplines, a part of that championship diet to have success.
Yeah, man, I love it, man. I love this championship diet, idea and conversation. Because people can identify champions. Like you just said, Michael Jordan, Michael Phelps, they can identify winning teams like Pittsburgh Steelers. We can identify.
Don't bring up the Steelers, Rich. I saw what you did there.
I'm just saying, 6 rings. That's all I'm just saying. Anyway, but I'm having fun. But we can identify champions.
Right.
But what we don't immediately recognize, or what isn't maybe immediately visible, is what that practice lifestyle is like.
Yes.
Right. And so you look at like Kobe Bryant. I love reading and looking at information on the Mamba mentality. Where Kobe, like I remember, and I can't remember who the other player was, walked in the gym, and Kobe's been in the gym full on sweat by himself, 3 or 4 hours. And the guy's thinking, man, we got to play tonight. And Kobe's like going hard at it. And then come to find out later, he talked to Kobe. Kobe said, I knew you were up there watching me. But it was that mindset, man. It's that little things like that on the performance, that practice. And so obviously your level of success, you can trace it to your private practice, right?
Definitely. And also my private failures too. You know, oftentimes in life and business, we talk about the successes, but we don't talk about the failures. And that's one thing I appreciated about Michael Jordan is he there was like this famous quote. I know you know it, Rich. You know all the famous quotes. But where he talked about how he failed, like he talked about how many free throws he missed, how many game-winning shots he missed,
right,
how many games he lost. And he said, the reason I won in the end and I was so successful is because of all those small failures.
right.
And so you really don't lose unless you quit.
Right.
Your failures is a part of life. Like you win, you fail, and you have success, but you don't lose in the end if you continue down that path and you keep putting in the work. You ultimately get what every other champion has gotten, which is the ring, the championship trophy.
Right.
And I've seen that in my life. I tell salespeople all the time, Rich, and professionals, I'm like, man, I've been successful in like 5 or 6 different industries because I just worked the principles. I failed one time though in sales, Rich. I don't know if you know that story. I don't tell that one too often. I failed in the mortgage business. You want to know why?
Why is that?
One, I was chasing money. My motive was wrong.
Okay.
I saw somebody else, doing $300,000 a year for $400,000. I was like, oh, I'm doing that. 2, I went to a company that didn't have great training. So being new in it, I didn't get the training I needed, but no excuses there. 3, I got into the industry at the wrong time, bro, in the middle of the recession in 2004 or 5, like right when the mortgage debacle happened, everything started going down. Why would you get into a business? The ship is sinking and you get on the boat. It doesn't work.
You add weight to the ship that's sinking.
So part of your success, guys that are listening to this,
is
noticing the trends and the waves. You want to ride the wave. You don't want to get off. You don't want to get on the ship when the thing is sinking. So I think it's important that we talk about those failures, Rich, so that people know that business isn't just peaches and cream. Like there are times when you face huge adversity and you got to push through that pain or that adversity to get back on top sometimes, or even to get to where you really want to get to.
Yeah, that's good, man. I read an article in the Wallstreet Journal a few years back when COVID hit. COVID hit somewhere around the beginning of 2020, I believe. And what this article did was this article looked at businesses that failed during COVID to try to determine why did the business fail. And there were a number of reasons: economics, leadership, training, etc. But the overarching theme of the companies that they looked at that failed, and the overarching theme was that they did not have a contingency plan. They didn't plan for failure. And the companies that planned or had a contingency plan in place for failure, or they pivot when the market changed, they pivot. Yep. They were successful. So you're right, man. A lot of times we talk about wins and successes, but there are lessons and failures. Whenever I lose, I learn to look at it as a lesson. I look back and say, okay, why did I lose? How did I lose? What can I do to prevent from losing? So it's a lesson. It becomes a lesson for me. So definitely. I appreciate you being transparent. Before we wrap this up, also, Rob, I just, share with us some strategies to drive traffic. You're the digital marketing guy. I have to bring that up. I know 360 Your Business, you guys do those. You do the Google photos and things like that. So I'm a decision maker. I want to grow my business. I want to be intentional with my media, my online visibility. What are things that I can do to drive traffic to my business?
Yeah. So first thing is think about where your clients and your customers are. So really dive deep, even look at your competitors and see where are the customers going right? Like, where are the eyeballs? Where's the attention? So right now it's Instagram, it's still Facebook, it's Instagram Reels, it's Facebook Reels, it's YouTube, it's TikTok for the younger demographic. Like, if your demo is anywhere from 13 to 25, you got to be on TikTok. It's not an option. And so one is like really seeing, okay, where's my customer base, and then how can I market to them? Well, nowadays I call it visual marketing. I don't even really hear people talk about that term, but you probably heard the term content marketing. You want to create content and visual assets that attract your ideal customer.
Right.
So, and you can do this organically, Rich. You don't have to spend a ton of money on marketing nowadays because of social media. But for example, right? I'll give you an example. There's a great book I want to recommend for anybody who's into marketing or you own a business, but the book is called Contagious, and it's Why Things Catch On. And what I love about that book is it tells stories. And one of the stories is years ago. This book is probably 7-8 years old, but it was when social media first started popping. There was this guy, this chef. He said, "I want to start a steakhouse in Philadelphia." And if you know anything about steakhouses, Rich, how many steakhouses do you think there are in Philly?
Probably not a lot.
No, think about it.
I mean, there are probably a lot of steakhouses in Philly.
It's the capital of the cheesesteak.
Right, the cheesesteak, right.
So there's hundreds, if not thousands, of cheesesteak joints and steakhouses throughout Pennsylvania.
Right.
And the guy thinks to himself, he says, how can I stand out amongst thousands? Rich, he created the first ever $100 cheesesteak.
$100 cheesesteak.
Rich, it has the best prime of the prime steak that you can get.
Wow.
It has imported caramelized onions. And like this honey Dijon mustard from France.
Oh, wow.
And I think he even sprinkles it with, like, you ever seen that little gold sprinkles they put, the real carat gold?
Yes.
People go to his restaurant and they order it just to share it with their families, to experience it.
Wow.
And the news publications got wind of it, and he got all this free publication and advertising and marketing simply because he thought of an idea that nobody else was doing.
Wow.
So what am I saying to you? Find out where your customer's attention is, where they're going for information, then create visual assets and content to get their attention and to attract them to your business. And then once you do, create systems like email marketing, text marketing, automation, AI systems to stay in front of your customers once you get them a customer, so that you can increase your repeat business. So you have a steady flow of repeat revenue in business, and you have a steady flow of new customers coming in. And last but not least, be willing to change at all times, because things are always evolving. And if you don't evolve in business, if you don't evolve in your career, then you'll dissolve and you'll go away.
Okay. Say that again, man. Say that again.
If you don't evolve in your career, if you don't evolve in business, then you'll dissolve and go away.
Wow.
And so BlackBerry was the number one smartphone in the early 2000s. Everybody had a BlackBerry. You remember the BlackBerry with the little keyboard, Rich?
Yeah, I had one. It had that little stylus too.
Come on, man. BlackBerry was the phone.
Yeah,
man,
a friend of mine told me,
BlackBerry, man, you felt like a business person.
Right. It was this big. You hold it up.
on LinkedIn. It got smaller over time, though, but at first.
Yeah.
And I tell people, they own the smartphone market share, but the reason they went away is they were determined to stick with the keyboard. And Steve Jobs said a phone should be smart. It should be connected to your email and the internet, and it doesn't need a keyboard. You just need a screen that you can touch.
Wow.
And people thought he was crazy.
Right.
And now today, almost every phone is touchscreen. So
right.
I hope that helps. Just to break it down and recap, find out where your customer's attention is, where they're going for information, where they're spending their time, create visual content and assets that attract them to your business. Once you gain them as a customer, then I want you to create systems in place that keep them as a customer and increase your repeat business. So you got a steady flow of new customers, steady flow of existing business.
Okay. Hey, Rob, I want to put up on the screen your email address And the name of the business, the 360 Your Business.
Yeah. So the way the way they can touch base with me is Robert at 360yourbusiness.com. But also you can go to my LinkedIn page. There's a Calendly link if you want to book time with me. If you need sales training, marketing training, consulting for your company. I speak on stages. I'm speaking at a panel coming up next week. So if you're looking for speakers to come in and motivate your team or to really educate your team on anything from sales and marketing to mental health and mental toughness, I'm your guy. But you can shoot me an email. You can go to my website, robdawson.tv, if you can put that on the screen, or Rob Dawson Coaching, actually, Rich. You can put robdawsoncoaching.com. Definitely send me an inquiry if you're looking to hire me to speak or to consult your company. I'd love to be a part of what you're doing and see if we're good or if we're a good fit for one another.
So that's robdawsoncoaching.com?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hey, man. So listen, this has been very instrumental. Hopefully, people were able to get some value out of this. We're going to package it, rebroadcast it. I'll rebroadcast it multiple times throughout this week and into the weekend. Man, as always, Rob, it's a pleasure getting together, chatting, just hearing some of the wisdoms and some of the success and some of the nuggets that you leave with us. 30 seconds, parting words. What would you say?
Rich, first I want to say thanks for having me on, man. You're like a brother to me. I love what you're doing with just Momentum Consulting, how you're helping companies and businesses to build their teams, recruit the right people, how you just give so much free information and knowledge, man. It's a blessing. So first, just wanted to say that. But parting ways, I would say this, that relationships is everything. So Rich is like a brother to me. We do business together, and we also hang out, our families. Relationships come before transactions. I want you to remember that. Relationships over transactions. If you focus on building strong, authentic, quality relationships in life and in business, the deals and the revenue and the customers will come as a part of that. People like doing business with people they like. So they buy you before they buy your product or service. So I want you to focus the rest of this year. Yes, reach out. Yes, do your email marketing. Hit people on LinkedIn. But if you hit me up on LinkedIn and you send me a automated generic message, I'm not going to really respond to you. But if you say to me, hey, Rob, I love that message you just posted last week. It really resonated with me. I'd love to do coffee or lunch virtually. You're going to get my attention because it seems like you want to potentially build a relationship. So build some power partnerships to finish out this year. You'll do more business than you ever had in 2024, but we got to finish this year strong. And it starts with relationship and it starts with crazy high level activity.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it. You were talking about, our relationship, and, I thought about, you're a Ravens fan, Baltimore Ravens fan. I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I know some people may not understand that in the sports world.
But
that's like,
You really gonna try to end the conversation?
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Yo, the Steelers beat the Ravens recently, so
I wasn't going to mention that.
See, Rich, I told you we could only do this this interview if my team won.
Right.
I see why I should have kept you to that, but
no. No, man, I love it, man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, man. Always, bro. It's always, a pleasure to have the conversation. Love the relationship, love the mentorship, the coaching that you and I share with one another. Our families are connected, we're connected. And I echo that, man, on LinkedIn. I get hit up on LinkedIn a lot. Hey, are you thinking about your next franchise opportunity? I said, you don't even know where I'm thinking.
Right.
And so it does sound relationship when someone that can say, hey, I love that content. I was on that webinar. I love to have 10 minutes of your time. That sounds a little bit more personal than something that's scripted. So again, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And that's all for today. Hey, listen, I always say this, I'll say at the top, because the bottom is just too crowded. Now, we never look down on anyone unless we're looking down to give them a hand up. Let's get it.
Let's get it, Rich. I'm going to go close this deal for you, man.
All right.